Hello, good morning students. Today's topic of class is microcirculation, also called capillary circulation. See the competency of this topic, or we can say that learning objectives of this class. So at the end of lecture, you should be able to tell about what you should know at the end of the class, like describe structure and function of microcirculation. Okay, so what is microcirculation, what is its structure, and what is its function? Then describe the mechanism of tissue fluid formation. A tissue fluid formation, or we can say that capillary filtration, mechanism of capillary filtration. And for this mechanism, the Starling forces are acting across the capillary membrane. Okay, so you should be able to tell about the Starling forces. Okay, the last, define edema. What is edema? There is an inflammation of the tissue is called the edema. So define it and understand the physiological mechanism of edema formation. Okay, so you look at this as a question also in university. The short note can be asked on the edema. Okay, so what is edema, what are the causes of the edema? Then long question can be asked on describe the tissue fluid formation and the role of Starling forces in tissue fluid formation. So like these questions can be asked. Okay, so this microcirculation or the capillary circulation will be discussed under these points. That is, first, capillary circulation. So what is capillary circulation? Okay, you know, the it is a circulation that its function is to transport the blood to all tissue and to remove the metabolic end products that will be discussed. So under this point we have to discuss structure of the capillary circulation. Then we'll see the what are the capillaries, what are the arterioles. Okay, how it is arranged at the level of the tissue. Okay, that is, it is a peripheral circulation, we can say that. Okay, then we have to study under this point also structure of the capillary wall. Okay, so what is there, what is the specialty of the capillary wall, where the exchange of nutrients and metabolic end products it occurs. Okay, that will be discussed under the points, under these points. Also we have to see flow of blood in the capillaries, how the blood it flows in the capillary as per the need of the tissue, according to the need of the tissue for nutrients and oxygen. Okay, that will be studied under the capillary circulation. Then second point is tissue fluid formation. So here it is also called the capillary filtration. I told that question can be asked, describe the mechanism, okay, of tissue fluid formation. So under this point we have to study the what is interstitium. Interstitium means it is a space between the cells. Okay, that gap between the cell, or the space between the cell is called the interstitium. That will be discussed. Then what is tissue fluid actually? Okay, or it is also called the interstitial fluid. Then under this point also we have to see the learn the structure of the interstitium. Okay, that is a gap between two tissues, space between two tissues, that is a interstitium. Then we have to study the mechanism of tissue fluid formation and what is the role of Starling forces in this mechanism of tissue fluid formation, that various forces acting that for the formation of tissue fluid. Then we have to see what is the edema. Okay, suppose if these forces, Starling forces, get disturbed, okay, and how it leads into the inflammation of the tissue or the accumulation fluid in the tissue is called edema. Okay, so what is edema? What are the types of the edema? Okay, different classification of the edema, the causes of the edema, that will be discussed under the edema. Okay, so this is the outline of this today's class, and we'll continue, we'll take one by one. Okay, next slide. Here, introduction. So here, what is microcirculation? Okay, so microcirculation, you know, the importance of microcirculation is it is required, or the capillary circulation, it is required to transport of nutrients to the tissue and to remove the carbon dioxide and metabolic end products, that is the excreta of cell from the tissue. So to give the metabolic end products according to the need of the tissue, and to remove this after the metabolism, the whatever the nutrient metabolic end products released by the tissue, to remove it is a main function of microcirculation. Okay, so it is a circulation. Microcirculation means it is a circulation at the tissue level. So how it occurs? Okay, then yeah, under this you should know the arterioles control the blood flow to the tissue. So what is arterioles? And you know, we'll go there. And these small arterioles mainly control the blood flow to the tissue. And also you should know here the wall of the capillary. Okay, so you know the wall of the capillary, it is thin, and it is thin, very thin, and it is made up of single layer of highly permeable endothelial cells. So single layer of endothelial cells are there. Okay, and they are highly permeable, and due to this the water, nutrients, then excreta, that is a metabolic end products, easily interchange or quickly interchange between the capillary and the interstitium. Okay, so like this, this is how it works. Okay, and you know, if you see in the body, there are about 10 billions of capillaries in the body with total surface area. If you take the all capillaries, their total surface area is 500 to 700 meters square. Okay, is a total surface area. Okay, now coming to the point, take point one by one, and first see the structure of the capillary. Okay, if you see the structure of the capillary, first see the diagram. Okay, I will show you diagram, and here this is diagram structure of the capillary. Okay, here each if you see the each nutrient artery, uh, each nutrient artery that enters the organ, that divides and redivides, that branches 6 to 8 times, and that branches are called the arterioles. Okay, so when the uh, nutrient artery once entered in the organ, it divides about 6 to 8 times. Okay, and these branches are called the arterioles. See, this is the arteriole. Okay, and you know this arteriole, if you see, if you take any one arteriole, so diameter is about 10 to 15 micrometer is a diameter. Okay, now these arterioles are highly musculature, and their diameter can change many folds. Remember, it is highly supplied by the sympathetic nerves, it is highly musculature, and its diameter can be changed by many folds. Okay, so can be changed many folds, diameter can be increased, decreased many folds. Okay, you know, if it has to regulate the blood flow, then there is a either vasoconstriction or vasodilatation. That means it is highly flexible, and diameter change many folds. Okay, now then these arterioles, okay, then these arterioles again themselves divides or branches 2 to 5 times. Okay, when it entered in the organ, again it can be divided, and you know the terminal arterioles are called meta-arterioles. So these main arterioles, first it is the artery, nutrient artery divides 6 to 8 times into the arterioles. Again each arterioles it divides into 2 to 5 times, and this terminal arteriole it is called the meta-arterioles. So diameter of this meta-arteriole it is 5 to 9 micrometer. Okay, and these meta-arterioles have intermittent smooth muscle coat. Okay, here the main arterioles is highly musculature, it is continuous musculature or smooth muscle coat is there. But if you see the meta-arteriole, it has intermittent smooth muscle coat. Okay, see like this, there is a gap is there, and it is called the intermittent muscular coat. Okay, each capillary, if you see the each capillary at its origin from arterioles also encircled with smooth muscle, and it is called the precapillary sphincter. Okay, so if you see this capillary, once it is arise from the meta-arterioles, it's a capillary, it's a small capillary, and at its origin at meta-arteriole, here it is encircled by smooth muscle, and that smooth muscles are called precapillary sphincter. Okay, this is a sphincter which regulates the blood flow to the capillary. This sphincter can open or close entrance to the capillary. It can easily open or close. So here also smooth muscle coats is there intermittently. Here this coat is continuous, and at the entry of the capillary also there is a smooth muscle coat that is called the sphincter. So this smooth muscle coat and this sphincter, it regulates the blood flow to the tissue. Okay, so this is about the arterioles and meta-arterioles. Okay, now the see this part, so blue in color is the venules. So these venules are large than the arterioles. Okay, their diameter is larger than the arterioles and have weaker muscular coat. Okay, so muscular coat is not that much dense. Okay, it is a weaker. Okay, here metabolic end products like if you see the metabolic end products like lactic acid or carbon dioxide. Okay, or in addition to that HIN, HIN. Okay, so causes the direct effect on these vessels. Okay, so whatever the metabolic end products released at the due to the metabolism, they affect directly on this vessel and can regulate the blood flow by altering their diameters. Okay, so this is all about this diagram. Okay, that is a structure of capillary bed. Okay, and this is an example of mesenteric capillary bed. Okay, what we discussed. So student, yeah, याद रखो कि what is arterioles, what is meta-arterioles, what is veins, and how it is encircled by the smooth muscles. Okay, then see one more diagram is there. So this is the structure of capillary wall. Okay, so here try to understand. Now in our previous diagram we discussed arterioles and capillaries. Now take one capillary, and it is a highly magnified image of capillary wall, and see, because why we are studying the capillary wall, because there is exchange of the nutrients and metabolic end products through this wall. Okay, so here this is the wall. Okay, it's a outside of the wall and inside of the wall. This is the outside of the capillary, inside of the capillary it's the inner part and outer part. Okay, here outer part is called the basement membrane, outer layer. Okay, and you know the capillary wall is composed of unicellular layer of endothelial cells. Okay, so it is layer single layer of endothelial cells. Okay, this is from this point to this point one endothelial cell is there. Okay, and here it is surrounded by the basement membrane outside the capillary. This is a basement membrane. It gives the support to the endothelial cell. Okay, uh, if you see the thickness of the capillary is about zero point 0.5 micrometer. Okay, and the that is a thickness, and the internal diameter, the diameter of the capillary is about 4 to 9 micrometer. Now if you see the diameter of RBC is about 7.2 micrometer, while the diameter of the capillary is 4 to 9 meter. Means actually RBC or other blood cells, they have to quiz through the capillary. When they are flowing through the capillary, they have to close through the capillary. Okay, so here see in this diagram, try to understand. Here it is more magnified structure. The same, this structure how it looks here, it's the same structure. Okay, here it is endothelial wall, और ये कैसे दिखा है देखो, so this is the inner wall, okay, of the endothelium. So endothelial cell and inner wall, how it looks here. Okay, for example, how it is magnified here, one vesicle, it is shown here, or it is also called the plasma lamellar vesicle. ये कैसे दिखता है देखो. So in imagination is there, and same this imagination shows here. So this is the inner layer, and this is also inner layer. Okay, so try to understand. Here the in this diagram shows, in this diagram it shows two passageways. Okay, passageways. Okay, it's a gap, or you can see the channel, it looks here. Okay, so these channels are these passageways are called the intracellular cleft. See the intracellular cleft, so like this watery channel it looks, and it's called the intracellular cleft. So these are located here in this diagram. Two are there, and these are located in between two endothelium cells. So between the endothelial cells, one endothelial cell, second endothelial cells, and in between the endothelial cells there is a intracellular cleft. Okay, and you know this cleft, it is connecting the interior to the exterior of the this capillary, inside to the outside. It is connected interior to the exterior of the capillary. Okay, also there are many plasma lamellar vesicles. See the plasma lamellar, uh, so there are many plasma lamellar vesicles. Okay, and these plasma lamellar vesicles uh, are also called uh, the cleo, sorry, the Keoli. Okay, so it is also called the Keoli. These are vesicles. Okay, and some of these vesicles come together and form the vesicular channels. Okay, so here if you see these vesicles come together and it form the vesicular channel. It helps to form the vesicular channel. Okay, so these so up to this point what we discuss, this is the endothelial layer. In endothelial layer, okay, endothelial cells was this is a unicellular layer. Okay, then in between there is a intracellular cleft which helps to transport the substances. Also there are the plasma lamellar vesicles. Okay, and this plasma lamellar vesicle, somewhere it comes together and form the vesicular channel. Okay, so see that there are also the special spores in certain organs. ये जो spores दिख रहे वो कुछ कुछ organ में they are very specially, there are the certain spores are there. For example, if you see these spores, these are tight junction in the brain. If you see in the brain, because in different organ there are the special pores. There are different organ, different spores are there. Their characteristic is different because their function is to transport the substances. Okay, so if you see in the different organ, the different spores are there. For example, in brain, it is called the tight junction. And in the brain, it allows only small molecules like water and oxygen and carbon dioxide allowed to pass through the pores in brain. If you see in the liver, these pores are wide open. These intracellular clefts are wide open in the liver, and it allows all dissolved substances. Because if you see, the function of the liver is different, because the metabolic function of liver is a very important function, and for to allow almost all dissolved particles can pass through this cleft in the liver. But in the brain there is a tight junction. Okay, it allows only small particles in the brain. Okay, even in the kidney also, there are if you see in the kidney, in between the glomerular capillary, if you see in the glomerular capillary membrane, there are small oval windows. Okay, so these are called the small oval windows, and these windows are called fenestrae. Okay, so you studied in the kidney, the fenestrae is there. And this fenestrae in the kidney, it allows small molecules and ionic substances to transport easily through the clip. So like this, the spores means there is a structural difference from organ to organ as far as concern the capillary wall. Okay, so up to this point, student, we studied the structure of capillary wall. Okay, now we'll continue. If you see the flow of blood in the capillary, the flow of the blood in the capillary is by the vasomotion. So what is that? So usually blood in the capillary is the flow in the capillary. If you see the blood flow in the capillary, it is not continuous. Okay, that is blood flow to the organ, particularly in the capillary, it is not continuous, but it is a intermittently uh, adjusted. Okay, that is we can say that the intermittent flow is there. Okay, and what that intermittent flow means? There is a turning on or turning off of that blood flow, get turning on or turning off for every few seconds or few minutes. Okay, and it is caused by the vasomotion. Vasomotion means, I just told, the arterioles, there are the meta arterioles and the precapillary sphincters are there. And there is a vasomotion means, it is a the intermittent contraction and relaxation of the meta arterioles, it occurs. Okay, and also of the capillary sphincter. So again I will repeat it. There is an intermittent contraction of meta arterioles and capillary sphincter. It causes the vasomotion, and this vasomotion, it leads into the turning on and turning off of blood flow in the capillary after every few seconds or minutes. That is how the blood it flows in the capillary. So again I will tell, the blood flow in the capillary is not continuous, but it is intermittently adjusted. Okay, now how it is recorded, how the blood flow to the tissue is controlled. Okay, the regulation is, it is mainly regulated by, the blood flow to the tissue is mainly regulated by the first factor or primary factor is oxygen concentration in the tissue. Okay, so oxygen concentration, how much is oxygen is there. If the oxygen level in the tissue is decreased, for example, increase in metabolism, and there is a decrease in oxygen concentration, that is a partial pressure of the oxygen, it leads into the increase in blood flow to the tissue. And how it increases? It increases by vasomotion. That means the period of intermittent blood flow, it increases by the decrease in oxygen. Decrease in oxygen level, there is increase in blood flow by vasomotion. Okay, in this way it is controlled. Okay, so here, this is the speciality of the capillary arterioles and meta arterioles, to control or to regulate the blood flow to the tissue according to the need of cells or tissue for nutrients and oxygen. Okay, now we'll continue, students, to the tissue fluid formation. So it is again very important topic means under the microcirculation only. What is tissue fluid formation? So what is tissue fluid? It is a simply, tissue fluid means it is a fluid present between the cells, that is in the interstitium. Okay, fluid in the interstitium is called the tissue fluid. Okay, what is interstitium? The interstitium means the space between the cell. You know, the cells are not exactly connected, but the cells are floating in the fluid. If you see in the cells in the tissue, cells in the tissue are floating. Okay, and the space between the cells, it is called the interstitium. Okay, and it is about 1/6 of the total body volume is the interstitium. So how much interstitium is there? The volume of the interstitium or the space of the interstitium is 1/6 of the total body volume. Okay, so tissue fluid, it is a fluid in the interstitium is called the tissue fluid, and this tissue fluid is very important because it acts as a medium for the exchange of substances between cells and capillaries. So students, remember, so there is a slightly gap between capillaries and cells, and in that gap, that is called the interstitium, and it is filled with the tissue fluid. Okay, now we'll go there how the tissue fluid is formed. Before to that, see the some the types of the fluid in the body. See here, the extracellular fluid and intracellular fluid, two types of the fluids is there in the body. What is extracellular fluid? ECF means extracellular fluid. All fluid outside the cell are collectively called extracellular fluid, the fluid outside the cell. And you know, this is, for example, tissue fluid is also one of the type of extracellular fluid. So fluid outside the cell is called extracellular fluid, and it is about 20% of total body weight, or we can say that it is 14 liters. If the person is with 70 kg weight, then in that person the extracellular fluid will be 14 liters. Examples of extracellular fluid, for example, plasma, interstitial fluid. Okay, this is the interstitial fluid means tissue fluid. Then CSF, okay, cerebrospinal fluid, that is in the brain, cavities of the brain. Then pleural fluid in the pleural fluid. Okay, then peritoneal fluid, pericardial fluid, intraocular fluid, then synovial fluid. These are all are the examples of extracellular fluid, and it is outside the cell, and it is about 14 liters. Then what is intracellular fluid? It is a fluid inside the cell. Okay, and it is inside, that's why it is called the intracellular fluid, and it is about 40 liters. That is it is about 40% of total body weight. Percent is 40, and total volume is 28 liters. Total extracellular fluid, it is 28 liters. Okay, now students, uh, before to see the actual formation, see the structure of interstitium. Okay, so we'll go there for the mechanism of formation of interstitial fluid. Before to that, see the interstitium, structure of the interstitium. You know what is interstitium? The interstitium is, or it is a, you know, it is a uh, space between the cells I just told. And see the structure. Okay, so I will show you the diagram. Here this is a structure of the interstitium. Okay, here try to understand. It's a capillary. This is a capillary. It's a cell. So one cell, so other cell, and the space between two cells, it is called the interstitium. So we are studying this structure of interstitium, and the fluid present in the interstitium, it is called the interstitial fluid or tissue fluid. So we use the word again and again, that is a tissue fluid, or it is called the interstitial fluid. So try to understand this structure. So in this structure, it contains two solid structures. Okay, ये जो गैप है इंटरटिशियम का, यहाँ two solid structure है. One is collagen fibers bundle. Okay, and second is, this is a, see, these long fibers are collagen fibers. Okay, and so see the collagen fibers. So these are the long, and it gives the strength to the tissue. These are the collagen fibers. These are the supportive tissue, and there are the fibers. Okay, then second is proteoglycan filaments. So proteoglycan filaments are, these are very thin and coiled. Okay, so see here, these are the coiled and these are the very thin. Okay, so this, like this, these two solid structures are there. Now if you see this interstitium, it feels like gel. If you touch, or if you try to take the touch sensation, it feels like the gel. Why it feels like the gel? Because it is due to the proteoglycan filaments. Okay, there are the proteoglycan filaments, and these proteoglycan filaments, and in addition to that, the fluid entrapped within them. So this proteoglycan filaments and the fluid, there is a fluid present, and that is entrapped in proteoglycan filament. That's why the feeling of this structure is gel like. Okay, then this tissue fluid is formed, you know, if you see this, there is a fluid, we say there is a fluid. How it is formed? It is formed by the filtration and diffusion. So from the capillary, there is a filtration or diffusion. Okay, filtration, fluid can be transported by two ways. Either there is a filtration or there is a diffusion of the substances. Okay, we'll go there in the formation. This fluid is form of vesicles. The fluid is in the form of vesicles and rivulets. Okay, so rivulets are there, and also there are the vesicles. Okay, so fluids are present in the form of vesicles, and free rivulets are there. Okay, so here the, if you see the composition of this fluid, the composition of this fluid is same like the plasma present in the blood, except low concentration of the protein. So दोनों में क्या difference है? The plasma in the blood and tissue fluid composition में इतना ही difference है कि the concentration of the protein is low in the tissue fluid. Okay, if you see total tissue fluid, only 1% of the fluid is in free form. Okay, so other fluid is entrapped in the proteoglycan filaments. Okay, and here only 1% is percent of the fluid is in free form. Oh, easily it can flows. You know, if the free fluid increases more than 1%, you know कितना है फ्री फ्लूइड कितना है 1% है. अगर वो उससे ज्यादा हो गया तो it leads into the edema, it develops the edema. That means our definition of the edema is accumulation of the fluid in the interstitium is called the edema. If there is a more accumulation of the fluid, means 1% fluid is in free form, and if it is increased more than 1%, then it develops the edema. Okay, so like the students, up to this point we studied the structure of interstitium. Okay, this is one more diagram, and here, because now we have to enter into the mechanism of tissue fluid formation. Okay, in this mechanism, this diagram is there, how the tissue fluid is formed. I told that tissue fluid is present here in the interstitium. Interstitium means it is a space between the cells. ये जो space है ये cells है, okay? ये जो interstitium है here, how it is formed? It is formed by the filtration and diffusion from capillary to the interstitium, okay? One more structure is there, so called the lymphatic capillaries. So lymphatic system, the function is to drain the extra fluid from this interstitium and maintain the negative pressure. If you see here in the interstitium there is a negative pressure, and this negative pressure is -3 millimeter of the mercury. This -3 negative pressure is maintained because this capillary lymphatic vessels continuously suck the fluid in this capillaries, okay? And in this way the tissue fluid formation it occurs, okay? Now we have to continue with the mechanism, that is a tissue fluid formation, okay? Now see students, how the tissue fluid formation it is occur. See the mechanism. The formation of the fluid in the interstitium is called the tissue fluid formation, and for this formation the forces are required, okay? The four forces are acting across the capillary membrane. And what are these four forces? Because these four forces are they are also called the Starling forces. And you know, in case you have the question, describe the Starling forces acting across the capillary membrane required for the formation of the tissue, then what are these Starling forces? There are the four Starling forces. One is the capillary pressure, second is the interstitial fluid pressure, and third is the capillary plasma colloid osmotic pressure, and the fourth is interstitial fluid colloid osmotic pressure, okay? Students, these four forces are there, okay? And they are acting together and form the tissue fluid, okay? So I will repeat it again. What are these forces? The capillary pressure, interstitial fluid pressure, the capillary plasma colloid osmotic pressure, the interstitial fluid colloid osmotic pressure, okay? Like this, these four forces are there. Now there is a net filtration, because you know the diffusion is on the both way, but net filtration, that is the one side filtration, is equal to net filtration pressure across the capillary membrane. So it is equal to the capillary pressure minus the interstitial fluid pressure minus the capillary plasma colloid osmotic pressure plus interstitial fluid colloid osmotic pressure is the net filtration pressure. If in this calculation, if the net filtration pressure is positive, then the fluid it is filtered, it will be filtered. And what it happens is at the arterial end of capillary, okay? And if this calculation, if it is negative, that means if the net filtration pressure is negative, then the absorption of the fluid it occurs, and that is what happens is at the venous end of the capillary, okay? So in this way these forces are acting, okay? Now students, in our second half of the lecture we'll go there, that how these forces are acting and it caused the formation of tissue fluid, okay? So in our next half of the lecture we'll continue. And you know, after these forces also we have to enter in the edema. So edema and how these forces, edema means you know there is an accumulation of the fluid, and the causes of the edema, okay? and the types of the edema, that is a classification of the edema, we'll discuss in the next class. Okay, so up to this point, now we'll stop here, student, and second half of the this topic will continue in the next class. Okay, thank you, bye bye.